Okay, so now we're getting to the meat and bones of building your website, and I'm going to go through how your pages are actually structured for each of the templates and the website overall, really. So first up, each of the pages that have come through from the template will be broken up into sections. So that's when you can see the green outline. This means that everything within that is a section. Nested within a section, you'll then have a row which shows up as a blue outline, and then within that row you'll have columns. So you can have 1 column, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many you want. To be able to add an element, so a text block or an image or a form, you need to have that structure set up first. So you'll have the section, a row, and then the column. And then within that column, you can stack your elements. So in this example here, I have the row, and then I have 1 column, and then I have multiple elements stacked on top of each other. So you can think of it kind of like a hierarchy. Why you would have separate sections is for various reasons, but it could be that you want alternating background colors. It could mean that you want to save a section as a global section. So anything that shows up in purple, and I'll just select it here for you. So this one here, see how that's now highlighted around as purple? That means that at a website level, anything that you change in this menu header will change across all website pages. So it's a really good way to make sure that you've got consistency over each of your pages. To start out with, I recommend having a global section for your header and your footer as well. If there's a section that you like and you want to use it either further down the page or on a different page, when you hover over the section and it's colored green, you can actually save that section. So there's 3 ways that you can save it. A section template saves as a copy, which can be used anywhere as a template. So it's kind of like at an account level, it saves anywhere. You would just name it. So say if you had like a 50-50 split of an image and the text, so that you're not having to replicate that every single time, you can just save it as a template that you've done, and you can add it in on any of your pages or funnels. The global section, as I was speaking about before, would be more for your header and footer, or even if you have an opt-in that you're wanting to place on each of the pages and you're wanting to update it just the once, then that's where you would go global. Anything that you change on one page changes across the entire website. Universal saves at an account level, so any changes in one instance will sync across all instances account-wide. So this means if you have multiple websites on your account, when you update a universal section, it'll update on all of the websites that you have. Whereas this one here, I know I said that you can save it as a account level, but it doesn't update at an account level, whereas this one does here. So within each of the columns, you have an element. And to add in an element, you can either click the plus sign or the plus sign up in the top left-hand corner here. So we've got this quick add menu here, which are the most popular ones. You can also use the search bar to find something if you're wanting to add an image. Or you can have a look through your rows. So these are pre-built rows with columns, elements, pre-built sections that are just basic sections, your saved assets, which I just covered, the marketplace, and then if you have a store as well, you can add them in from here. Then we have different types of buttons that you can further customize, but it gives you kind of a base starting point. Forms and surveys, social media icons, countdown timers, images if you're wanting different shapes, and progress bars. So to add anything in, you just basically grab it, keep hold of it, and move it where you're wanting to go. So if I'm wanting to add it in as a completely new row, I can do that, or nested within the section at the top here. So I'm just holding my mouse down and moving through the page up and down. So I'll just delete that one off now. Each of these elements can also have what's called margins and paddings. Margins is the space outside of the element or column or row. So you can see that there's a space between each of these columns. So there would be a margin set to put that space in between. So this is your margin area, so that's outside of the box. And then the padding is within the box. So that's where I tell it to put at least 10 pixels padding between the outside of the column and the outside of the element. Here that everything moves out, and now that's at 100 pixels. When you're adding in a section, if you find that when you preview the site, the row is not going to the edges, it may be because you haven't given the section permission to go to the edges, in which case you click on the section, click on General, and toggle on or off this button here where it says allow rows to take up entire width. Otherwise, you may have excessive space either side that you weren't expecting. Otherwise, I recommend having a padding of 5% within your section or your row. So if we have a look in this row here, we've got 5%. And if you change it to a percentage, it means that it's not just fixed to a pixel amount. So it's kind of like centimeters or millimeters pixels would be, whereas a percentage is the overall percentage divided. So if I move this in or out, you can see that it adjusts that padding within that row. So for the section, I have a 0 padding, and I've set the row padding as 5%. As you play around and get used to how to use paddings and margins, it will make a lot more sense for you. So don't feel overwhelmed at this point, and just keep playing around, and you can always press that undo button to revert back. If you're wanting things to overlap, this is where you can also put in a negative sign to move it across. And that's how you would get overlapping. So that's the main structure of how your page is built up. So again, it comes down to a hierarchy. You've got your section, your row, columns, and I've got 2 columns in here. And then within those columns, I have the elements. Most of this has already been set up for you in the templates, so all you're really needing to do is plug and play and pop your copywriting in here and change out your images and colors. But if you are wanting to design from scratch, that's how the page is structured. So I hope that's helpful. Feel free to rewatch this tutorial as many times as you like to get a better understanding. And as I said, have fun, play around, and take a deep breath, and you'll do fine.